In this demo, we will first install Scala so that it's ready for us to use, then get our feet wet with a hello world little bit of code in Scala's REPL environment, that's the interactive shell. And once that's done, we'll demonstrate how to do the same using the Scala compiler Scala C, which is very similar to Java C. Okay, let's go ahead and download and install Scala. This installation, by the way, is carried out on a Mac machine, but I'll also address the installations on Windows and Linux machines as we go along. The installation on Windows is pretty simple because Windows has an MSI installer, and the installation on Linux is conceptually very similar to that on Mac machines. We start by searching for download Scala. This search takes us to the downloads page on the scala-lang.org website, where we choose to download the archive by clicking on the big red button up top. This web page is pretty smart. It will detect whether you're on a Windows or on a Mac machine. On Windows machines, clicking this will lead to the download of an installer, a .msi file. After downloading this MSI file, you click on it, follow a few simple self-explanatory steps, and you're good to go. This is why installing Scala on Windows is so simple. Things are a little more complicated on Mac or Linux machines, so let's cover those in a little bit more detail. Let's go ahead and download that archive file, unzip or extract that archive. We then go ahead and rename the extracted directory to Scala. Copy this directory to any convenient location on your machine. I have chosen to copy it into my home directory. Remember that Scala runs atop the JVM, so we need to make sure that Java is set up. You can try typing out Java minus version to test and make sure that Java is set up. As you can see in this instance, I do have Java installed on this machine. I can tell that I have version 1.8. Now that that looks okay, I need to go ahead and change some environment variables. I'm going to do so by editing my bash profile. Note that this file is called bash underscore profile in Mac machines, but on Linux it's often called .bashrc. Let's now go ahead and edit this bash profile in our favorite editor. First up, we need to make sure to set the Java home variable. On a Mac machine, this can be accomplished with a little bit of shell scripting that you see on screen now. On a Linux machine, you need to look up your path because it would vary with both your JDK and your version. Next up, we need to set up another environment variable, this time called Scala underscore home. We set the value of this variable to be the directory that we just created. Remember that I had named my directory Scala and I had placed this in my home directory, and that is the value which I point Scala underscore home to. This Scala home directory contains a subdirectory called bin, which contains various utilities that can be invoked by the Scala programmer. These include the Scala compiler, Scala C, as well as the Scala interactive shell called Scala. Let's go ahead and append this directory to the path. This ensures that I can invoke the Scala REPL environment from the command line. I can just type Scala in on the command line of a terminal window, and that will lead to opening up Scala's interactive shell. Once that's done, I save my bash profile. I then need to make sure that these environment changes have been picked up. So I source this bash underscore profile file. Another way of doing this would be to close and then reopen this terminal window. That would cause the contents of the bash profile to be executed. I echo the value of the Java home environment variable and I make sure that it is correctly set. I then go ahead and type Scala. This causes Scala's interactive shell to open up. This shell is really handy. This is also often called a REPL environment. REPL stands for read, evaluate, print, and loop. Scala's REPL environment tends to be used very often as a way to get quick, in fact, instant feedback to Scala commands. I then go ahead and type out a few simple commands. You can see that I first type the expression 1 plus 2 and the result is instantaneously printed to screen. That's 3. I print the string hello world to screen, and that is that. We have successfully written our first little Scala commands. Scala's REPL is awesome for entering commands one at a time. It also has a paste mode which you can use in order to copy paste a large number of commands at one go. And once you're done, you quit using the command :quit. There is also another way of executing Scala code. This is a non-interactive mode. For this, make use of an IDE or an editor like Emacs. Like the corresponding Java Hello World, we need a little bit of boilerplate here. And that's the boilerplate that I'm typing out on screen now. I first create a singleton object which is named little example. Within this, I have a main method, and within the body of this main method is whatever code it is that I would like to execute. Again, this should all be pretty familiar to a Java programmer, but even so, there is one little bit here that is worth pointing out, and that is the use of the word object. In Scala, the word object is used to refer to a singleton. This is a singleton object and it's different from a class. The word object has a slightly different meaning in Scala than it does in Java. In this particular course, we are going to focus on the functional rather than on the object-oriented aspects of Scala. But even so, this is something that you should remember. Anytime you want to have some code executed in a non-interactive fashion, you have to put it in a main method, and that main method needs to reside inside a singleton object. Once that's out of the way, the rest of the process ought to be reasonably similar. We save our file and we then go ahead and call Scala C to compile our code. Notice that we call Scala C on the source code file, Scala C followed by the name of our source file, which in this instance is littleexample.scala. This leads to the creation of a file containing the intermediate bytecode, which can then be executed by the Java runtime. Scala has a little wrapper for doing so, and that's what we invoke, Scala followed by the name of the object that was contained within our source file. Once again, here it's a little example. As with Java, this does not contain the file extension, and the result is a very satisfying hello world. We have successfully executed Scala code in non-interactive mode. For the remainder of this course, we will mostly stick to the REPL, to the interactive shell. It's important for you to know how the non-interactive method works.